She wanted her best friend's life so badly that she was willing to do anything to take it. The husband, the house, the cars, the respect, everything. And when she finally succeeded, when she finally became Mrs. Chidi, she thought she had won. Until 3 months later when she discovered the real reason her friend never fought back. A secret so dark, it turned her victory into a nightmare she would carry for the rest of her life. Ngozi and Amoka grew up like 2 fingers on the same hand. Same street in ABA, same primary school, same church, same dreams whispered under wrapper on hot afternoons. They were the type of friends that finished each other's sentences, shared one plate of rice, and defended each other like blood sisters. Ngozi was the calm one. Soft-spoken, patient, always thinking before acting. She had this gentle way of moving through life, like she was trying not to disturb the air around her. Amoka was fire. Loud, sharp-tongued, ambitious, the kind of girl who would fight a grown man if he disrespected her friend. She wanted everything big, a big life, big money, big respect. But despite their differences, they were inseparable. If you saw Ngozi walking to the market, Amoka was beside her carrying the other bag. If Amoka had a problem with a boy, Ngozi was the one writing the breakup message. If one cried, the other didn't sleep until she was smiling again. Their mothers would watch them and say, "These two are joined by the spirit." Even when they finished secondary school and Ngozi went to study accounting in Uniport while Amoka stayed back learning tailoring because her family couldn't afford university fees, nothing changed. Ngozi would send Amoka airtime every week. Amoka would sew Ngozi free clothes for campus. They called each other every night. It was during her final year that Ngozi met Chidi. He came to her department to give a guest lecture. Young, successful, owner of 3 filling stations across Port Harcourt, and so handsome that half the girls in the hall were forming serious face just to get his attention. But Chidi only noticed Ngozi. The quiet girl in the second row who asked one intelligent question that made him pause and smile. After the lecture, he approached her. "That was a brilliant question. Are you always this sharp?" Ngozi blushed. "I just pay attention, sir." "Sir?" He laughed. "I'm not that old. Call me Chidi." That was how it started. Chidi started showing up at her faculty. He would buy her lunch, wait for her after lectures, drive her home even when it was out of his way. Ngozi tried to resist at first. "This kind of man doesn't notice girls like me," she thought. But Chidi was persistent, respectful, intentional. Within 6 months, he proposed. The proposal was simple but beautiful. No crowd, no cameras, just the 2 of them at a quiet restaurant in GRA. He knelt down and said, "Ngozi, I don't need time to know you're the one. Marry me." She said yes with tears in her eyes. When Ngozi called Amoka to tell her, Amoka screamed so loud her neighbors thought something had happened. "My Ngozi is getting married. To a rich man. Oh, God is good." She was genuinely happy. At that time, there was no envy, no bitterness, just pure joy for her friend. The wedding was everything. Ngozi wore a champagne-colored gown that made her look like royalty. The hall was decorated in gold and white. The reception had a live band, and guests ate rice that tasted like heaven. Amoka was the chief bridesmaid, dancing harder than anyone, taking pictures, making sure Ngozi's makeup stayed perfect. After the wedding, Ngozi moved into Chidi's house. Not just any house, a massive duplex in Rumuala with a gate that opened automatically, a garden with real flowers, and 3 cars parked in the compound. When Amoka visited for the first time, her mouth literally hung open. "Ngozi, you don't enter another level entirely." Ngozi laughed and hugged her. "This is our blessing, not just mine. You're always welcome here." And for the first few months, Amoka visited often. She was still happy for her friend. Still supportive. Still grateful. But then something started shifting. Amoka would go home to her one-room apartment in ABA, the one with cracks in the wall and a landlord who shouted about rent every month, and she would compare. Ngozi had everything now. A rich husband, a beautiful home, house help, drivers, unlimited money. Meanwhile, Amoka was still sewing clothes for people who would price her down to nothing and pay late. At first, she scolded herself. Stop it, Amoka. Be happy for your friend. But envy is like smoke, once it enters, it spreads quietly until you can't breathe without it. She started noticing things. How Chidi looked at Ngozi with so much love. How he opened doors for her. How he surprised her with gifts for no reason. How he called her my heart in front of visitors. Amoka began to think, if that man were mine, I would treat him like a king. Ngozi doesn't even appreciate what she has. The truth was, Ngozi appreciated everything. But she had become quieter over the months. Sometimes when Amoka visited, Ngozi seemed distant, distracted. She would smile but it didn't reach her eyes. She had lost a little weight too. Amoka asked once, Ngozi, are you okay? You look tired. Ngozi waved it off quickly. I'm fine. Just adjusting to married life. But Amoka wasn't really listening. She was too busy watching Chidi, studying him, imagining herself in Ngozi's place. She started dressing differently when she visited. Tighter clothes. Brighter lipstick. She would laugh louder at Chidi's jokes, offer to help him with small things, compliment him constantly. Chidi, you're such a caring husband. Chidi, any woman would be blessed to have you. Chidi, you and Ngozi are so perfect together. Ngozi didn't notice the tone. But Chidi did. He wasn't interested, not even slightly, but he noticed the way Amoka lingered, the way she looked at him when Ngozi left the room. One evening, Amoka went too far. Ngozi had gone upstairs to rest, and Amoka stayed back in the living room with Chidi. She sat closer than necessary and said softly, you know, Chidi, if you ever need anything at all, I'm always here. Chidi stood up immediately. Amoka, I think it's time you go home. She blinked, embarrassed but also angry. I know what you were doing, he said coldly. Don't come back here with that energy. Amoka left fuming. That night, lying in her small room, her envy turned into something uglier. Determination. If he won't choose me willingly, I'll make him choose me. She had heard stories about a powerful native doctor in a village near Owerri. People said he could tie any man to any woman, break any marriage, rearrange any destiny. Amoka didn't believe in such things before, but desperation makes people do mad things. She went there on a Tuesday morning. The place smelled of herbs and smoke. The man was old, his eyes sharp and unsettling. Why are you here? He asked before she even sat down. I want a man, Amoka said, her voice shaking but firm. He's married to my friend. I want him to leave her and marry me. The old man studied her for a long time. Then he sighed. This kind of work ties your destiny to his completely. If he suffers, you suffer. If he dies, you follow. If there's anything hidden in his life, it becomes yours too. Are you sure? Amoka didn't even pause. I'm sure. Do it. The ritual took 3 days. Sacrifices were made. Incantations were chanted. By the end, the native doctor handed her a small black cloth. Bury this in their compound at midnight. Once it touches the soil of his house, the marriage will begin to break. Amoka didn't waste time. She went to Ngozi's house the following week, claiming she wanted to spend the night because she missed her friend. Ngozi, sweet, trusting Ngozi, welcomed her with open arms. That night, while everyone slept, Amoka snuck out and buried the charm under the mango tree in the backyard. By morning, everything changed. Chidi woke up irritated. He snapped at Ngozi for no reason. Why is this house so hot? Why didn't you on the generator earlier? Ngozi was confused. But it's on, my love. Don't my love me. Just fix it. It got worse. Every day, Chidi became colder, meaner, more distant. He stopped coming home early. He stopped touching Ngozi. He stopped smiling at her. Ngozi tried everything. She cooked his favorite meals. She dressed beautifully. She asked what was wrong. But Chidi just stared at her like she was a stranger. Then one evening, he said it. Ngozi, I don't think this marriage is working. I want you to leave. Ngozi thought she misheard. Leave? Chidi, what are you talking about? What did I do? Just go, he shouted. I don't want you here anymore. She left that night with one bag, crying so hard she could barely see the road. She moved back to her mother's house in ABA, confused, broken, and ashamed. Meanwhile, Amaka waited. And just like the native doctor said, Chidi called her 3 days later. Amaka, I need to talk to you. Her heart raced. About what? Can you come to the house? She dressed in her best outfit and went. When she arrived, Chidi looked different. His eyes were darker, emptier. But Amaka didn't care. She had won. Within 2 weeks, Chidi proposed to her. No love in his voice, just a strange urgency. They got married quietly at the registry. Amaka moved into the house she had envied for so long. She had everything now. The house. The cars. The name. She was Mrs. Chidi. But on her first night in that house, she noticed something strange. Chidi didn't touch her. He didn't smile. He just sat in the living room staring at nothing. Chidi, are you okay? He didn't answer. The next morning, she found medication bottles in his bathroom. Lots of them. With names she didn't recognize. When she Googled the names, her blood ran cold. Antiretroviral drugs. HIV medication. Her hands trembled as she confronted him. Chidi, what is this? He looked at her with empty eyes. You wanted my life so badly, ABI. Now you have it. All of it. Amaka's word tilted. What do you mean? I'm positive, he said flatly. I've been positive for 3 years. Ngozi knew. That's why she stayed. That's why she endured everything. She was trying to protect me, support me, keep my secret. But you just wanted the house and the money. Amaka collapsed to the floor. You did something, didn't you? Chidi's voice was hollow. I felt it the night everything changed. Something shifted in this house. I've been around enough spiritualists to know when someone has tampered with the spirit realm. Whatever you did to make me push Ngozi away and marry you, it doesn't matter now. You're stuck with me. With this sickness. With this life you were so desperate to steal. She screamed. She ran out of the house and went straight to the native doctor. Reverse it. Please, reverse it. The old man shook his head. I told you. Once it's done, it's done. You're bound to him. His sickness is now your sickness. His destiny is now your destiny. Amaka ran back to Ngozi's mother's house. She fell at Ngozi's feet, weeping uncontrollably. Ngozi, please forgive me. I didn't know. I was jealous. I did charm. I took your husband. Please, I'm begging you. Ngozi just looked at her. Her face was calm, but her eyes carried a pain Amaka had never seen before. You wanted him so badly, Ngozi said quietly. You didn't ask why I wasn't fighting to keep him. You didn't ask why I left so easily. You just took. I'm sorry. Please. Ngozi stood up. Amaka, I forgive you. But we can never be friends again. You destroyed something that can't be rebuilt. She walked back into the house and closed the door. Amoka returned to Chidi's house because the charm wouldn't let her leave. Every time she tried to run, her chest tightened like an invisible hand was squeezing her heart. 2 months later, she tested positive. The same sickness Ngozi had been protecting Chidi through, the same secret Ngozi had carried alone, was now Amoka's burden. Except Ngozi had carried it with love. Amoka carried it with regret. She would spend the rest of her life in that house, not as a wife, but as a prisoner of her own envy, watching Chidi deteriorate, knowing she would follow, tied to him by a charm she begged for. And somewhere in ABA, Ngozi was rebuilding her life. Slowly, quietly, finally free from a secret that almost killed her. She had loved Chidi enough to stay through his sickness. But when he pushed her away under the influence of the charm, she saw it as God's escape route. Sometimes the life you envy is the prison someone else is praying to escape. If this story touched you, pause and think. How many times do we look at someone's life from the outside and wish it was ours? Not every blessing is sweet. Not every marriage is happy. Not every smile is real. Before you envy, ask questions. Before you covet, seek understanding. Thank you so much for watching, my people. If you've been blessed by this story, don't just watch and go. Hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment. Share this video. Let's keep growing together. Your support means everything. I'll see you in the next story. Stay blessed and stay wise.